The Constitution will not be saved in Washington, as prophesied by Joseph Smith.
Senator Brown, I'd like to.
Senator Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A dozen years ago, when you did the tax holiday here, all the corporations had all this money, and of course they were going to be eager to give it out to work. Well, actually, they didn't give it out to workers. They did stock buybacks. They did executive compensation. They paid out dividends. Then somebody cited Britain. Great Britain has done a series of tax cuts. And their wages were flat too. So this is really wishful thinking. But I do know that the TV ads that are going to be run against the 5 most important senators on this committee, the TV ads that the independent groups will run, will of course say, Senator McCaskill and Senator Casey and Senator Stabenow and Senator Nelson are voting against a $4,000 raise that this tax cut is going to bestow on them. We know it's coming. We know you'll have way more money to promote that than we will have to defend it, but that's why the Wyden Amendment is so important. And I just think it would be nice just tonight, before we go home, to just acknowledge, well, this tax cut really is not for the middle class, it's for the rich. And that whole thing about higher wages, well, it's a good selling point, but we know companies don't just give away higher wages. They just don't give away higher wages just because they have more money. Corporations are sitting on a lot of money now. They're sitting on a lot of profits now. I don't see wages going up. So just spare us the bank shots, spare us the sarcasm and the satire, and let's move.
I'm going to spare it, but I'm going to just say to you that I come from the poor people. And I've been here working my whole stinking career for people who don't have a chance. And I really resent anybody saying that I'm just doing this for the rich. Give me a break. I think you guys overplay that all the time, and it gets old. And frankly, you ought to quit it.
Mr. Chairman, the public believes it.
I'm not through.
Okay.
I get kind of sick and tired of it. True, it's a nice political play.
Well, Mr.
But
Chairman,
it's not true.
with all due respect, I get sick and tired of the richest people
Regular
in
order,
this country
Mr. Chairman.
getting richer and
Regular
richer
order.
and richer.
Order.
We do a tax
Regular
cut for the
order.
rich and middle class
Wait a minute,
trades
Regular order.
and over and over
Wait
again.
just
How
a
many
second.
times do we do this before we learn this, Mr. Chairman?
Listen, I've honored you by allowing you to spout off here. And what you said was not right. That's all I'm saying. I come from the lower middle class originally. We didn't have anything. So don't spew that stuff on me. I get a little tired of that crap. And let me just say something. If we work together, we could pull this country out of every mess it's in. And we could do a lot of the things that you're talking about, too. And I think I've got a reputation of having worked together with Democrats.
Let's start with Chip.
I'm not starting with Chip. I did it. I've done it for years. I've got more bills.
Start with Chip today.
I got more bills passed than everybody on this committee put together. And they've been passed for the benefit of people in this country. Now, all I can say is I like you personally very much, but I'm telling you, this bull crap that you guys throw out here really gets old after a while. To do it right at the end of this was just not right.
And a major city yet to be determined in Russia.
Through federal filings, we confirmed the numbers on 12 funds, each with more than one web domain owned by the LDS Church. The funds control about $31.9 billion in investments.
Travis Wayne Goodsall. The DOJ, was it yesterday or 2 days ago, came out and announced that YouTube is working with Russia to overthrow the 2024 election. And I've been trying to tell you that. But YouTube is retaliating against me for reporting on YouTube. As they've been cyber terrorizing me all this year at escalated intensity. Has recently now, they have rigged the algorithms to just outright ban my videos from being shown or recommended to people, as I'm struggling to get 5 views per hour after their goof ups over the holiday weekend, allowing for an hour space of time that gets up to 100 or more views, which would be the normal viewing of my videos on my channel. Have YouTube left me alone. That's what's being exposed here. And so it looks like YouTube has now figured out why there's those glitches and have sealed them shut. People want to watch my videos. They may not agree with them, but they want to watch. I have Mormons watching, whether they're narcs to President Nelson or not. That's another issue. I have Christian preachers, not just Christians, who stalk me on my channel, who disagree that the Bible is Jewish, but are perfectly fine about how the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is evil and corrupt. Just as long as I stay away from Christianity. And I have those who are Trump supporters, and just as long as I stay away from Trump. I'm not aware of Islamists that follow me. There were, I think it was on TWG channel rather than this one though, where I did my DNA that revealed Somali ancestry back before the whites came into Somalia. And so YouTube just couldn't hold back all of the Somalis who were flocking to that video of mine. And the majority of them were kind to me. Welcome, brother. There were a few that were in denial. You're most likely from that white group that came in. And then there's some attempts to try to bash each other by arguing over whether Somalia had ever been under slave control of the UK or some other nation. But nonetheless, the intention of my channel has been to save lives, specifically Mormon lives. And as a consequence or an addition to Mormon lives, those who were Mormon, who left the church. Because having done the research myself into church history and into the scriptures, I am the anthropologist of the ancient Middle East. I am the expert in the field, as I deciphered Paleo-Hebrew and Egyptian. And if you're saying, well, Jean Champollion deciphered Egyptian in 1822. No, he deciphered the Rosetta Stone in 1822. That's the learning of the Greeks and the language of the Egyptians. Nobody still, to this day, has ever deciphered Egyptian. And so if you check Wikipedia for Gardner's sign list, and you go over the facsimiles in the Book of Abraham, try to find them all. So yeah, Gardner is incomplete. And you can even find Budge. I believe I've got the PDF, so you should be able to find them online also, of his sign lists, which are more extensive than Gardner's, but still lacks. And that's because of the Rosetta Stone leading them astray into thinking that only the text is to be translated, not understanding that it's not just the text, it's the whole artwork. The whole thing is communicating. It is a visionary language. And so I'm the one who deciphered that, and then done other stuff with discoveries because of my decipherments. And so that's where I come from, is a position of knowledge and expertise and publication and education and accomplishments and blah, blah, blah. But my only interest is to warn. And so I've sacrificed lately doing the video about pharaohs raping women in Bible stories, producing Jesus. How many times does Jesus get born as a rape baby? Quite a lot. That's the pattern. But nonetheless, instead I risk alienating people, upsetting people, simply by trying to save your lives. And in order to save your life, I have to expose the enemy. What good does it do to just generally say, you're all doomed, there's some unknown power that's going to try to hurt you. Don't know who it is, somebody's coming to get you. Wouldn't do any good. You don't know the threat, therefore you're not going to believe and listen and prepare. Unfortunately, despite all of the bombshell historical breaking news stories, I guess, for you, from my research, that nobody else is covering, which is why people come to my channel, because I talk about new stuff that you will not hear on any other ex-faux Nevermo channel, because they don't do research, they just regurgitate. And yet YouTube has no problem promoting disinformation on YouTube and silencing the experts. And so, yeah, this is a major tragedy that is unfolding here as the enemy is running the country and not doing anything to stop the threat from coming, and are helping it to come. And so it's sad if YouTube is innocent in all of this, despite the patterns that are evident, and that it's just people just are cancel culturing me and avoiding me. That's a Mormon thing to do, by the way. If you don't agree with what somebody is saying, you leave. You don't ever go. You just gotta go to the bathroom, gotta go shopping, it's Sunday. Well, the ox is in the mire. I'll be right back, promise. It's the Mormon version of going out for cigarettes. If you've heard those songs. think Cheryl Wright, is that her that does that song? Or is it one other country singer, female, who does that one? But nonetheless, yeah, I've exposed the core Mormonism as the most evil on the face of the earth in all of history. What I found out about the Danites over the weekend, just seriously, I'm still trying to recover from the post-traumatic stress of just learning about them. Dear God, women. I mean, it's one thing to make a false accusation against Joseph Smith, saying that he had sex with you and was sealed to you. It's another thing to blame Joseph Smith for that when instead you were gang raped by at least hundreds, if not thousands, of Danite men. So this is the kind of abuse that I'm getting. I am a religious leader. It is a hate crime of bigotry to attack me. And Mormons don't give a damn. Bleep you, Travis. Church is true, therefore you're the enemy. That's how Mormons think. You know, you get some other person of some other religion who commits a crime, and a Mormon learns of a Mormon who does the exact same crime, but says it's for Mormon Jesus, not Christian Jesus or Islamic Jesus or whatever other. The Mormon will always side with the Mormon, not consider it a crime. But the other, yeah, lock them up. They're the enemy. Get them. Punish them. That's the way Mormons think. And so it doesn't matter what I say, they will not believe. They've already, at this point, before I was attacked by YouTube, unless it's the church this time in the morning, it is after working hours, so the employee would be at work right now. And they're probably wondering, where are you, Travis? Where's your video? I'm being attacked by multiple ways and multiple people. And so, yeah, this is a situation where getting in here provides me some physical protection, as of previous residences. But now, that's why this year it's escalated into cyber attacks for the most part. There was a government official who attacked me this year. Last year, as I had freed myself from the bondage of Gail Miller's concentration camp of hell to get into this apartment, for which 2 women lost their jobs, the church then threatened my brother to come after me to try to keep me from getting into this apartment or removing me after, because he had tried to go through YouTube at first, and then realizing that that was a failure, he then was forced to hire a lawyer, spend $2,000 up front to hire her, and have her send me a notification of the attack by my brother, and said that the church threatened him. And you're his lawyer? What? Your client, who paid you, said that they were threatened by the church to attack me. And you're attacking me on behalf of your client, rather than going after the one who made the threat to him. So yeah, after that response to her, that attempt failed. I kind of wonder if my brother got fired anyway and has to live with Daddy. A dumbass attacked me on my birthday, bleeping bleeper. But this is how evil the church is. And so, as my latest prophecy, which has already come true before it even happened, that's the whole thing about prophecy. It's a prediction of the future. I already know it's gonna happen. It's a guaranteed win in Vegas. You don't want to bet against me on this one. For 9/11. This is pretty much it. I mean, yeah, there's still some stuff that need to be done, but we're in the final year of the latter days. When you hear about the scriptures saying that once the latter days are over, the heavens roll up as a scroll, that's what it's referring to. No more signs in the heavens. Scrolls are books. Books contain revelation. That's the astronomy giving you the day and the hour of the prophesied events. And so when they say that the scrolls are being rolled up of the heavens, rolled up, means that's it. Signs in the heavens are over with. These are the latter days, and they're over. After this year, it's done. You know, there's this, pretty much it's already over, but we still have the religious, right? The religious calendar New Year on October 7th that officially ends the latter days, as that's the last day of the last year of the civil calendar. Yeah, the fall is civil, the spring is spring, early summer is the religious calendar. And so on 8 April 2024, that was the last day of the religious calendar. And both of them have eclipses on the last year of the latter days. I mean, this has just been incredible, eye-opening, jaw-dropping. I mean, when I first heard of the total solar eclipse over the United States of America on the 21st of August 2017, way back on Fox 13 News Utah on the 4th of November, I dropped my jaw when I heard it. It was the very last segment of the morning news. They teased it, and so I stayed to leave. I left the TV on, and the bleepers, bleep and bleep bleeps, made it the final comment of the show that morning, the news that morning. But yeah, I knew exactly what that meant. Because remember, I'm the expert in the anthropology of the ancient Middle East. I knew what it meant. I knew that these were the latter days. And so thus, in 2017, I began my ministry preaching to Mormons to warn you of the latter days. And Mormons didn't believe, and Mormons got very verbally abusive and violent and threatening and criminal. Church had to be true, and the prophets of the church likewise. They attacked, and I was forced to defend myself, and they weren't happy that I defended myself, and they want revenge for my defending myself. You know, like Islam to Israel. How dare you defend yourself? We're the victims. So, I'm really wanting to retire. It really isn't worth my time. All these years, and all I've got are the 12 apostles who are faithful. And even among the 12, probably only about half are actually doing their job. There are too many doubting Thomases among the apostles. But as the weekend videos illustrated, there are still some that are out there. You know, there's the apostle James, code word, and the apostle Paul, who's an actual 12, not a disciple apostle of Saul Paul of the New Testament. In fact, it was the apostle Paul who sent me the email which led me into the Danite discussion. Dear God. All I was doing was simply looking up the Nicolaitans band. That's all I was doing. And then that just exploded into, oh my God. Oh dear God. It's worse than I knew. And so I'm wanting to retire again. The church will not stop. They will not leave me alone. I can leave the church, but they will not leave me alone. Yeah, Mormons use that on me over the years too. And I see, at 11 minutes again. I'm trying to say I want to retire, and the church doesn't give a damn. I'm under full attack. And this attack is why, you know, they just will not stop. Yesterday, it was just a quickie. It was the Church News video. It was just a quickie. Church News said, we are funding terrorism. And so all I did was post the law code prohibiting the funding of terrorism. And then presented the pictures from the Church News. It's not my fault. They posted it. I mean, dear God, if our government is that incapable of doing their job to protect this nation from domestic and foreign enemies, we're all doomed. Oh, hey, we are all doomed, aren't we? I mean, seriously. This church is the enemy. They literally follow Lucifer, taking away agency of people to enslave them. And just like Islam has their women forced to wear the hijab of their sexual abuse by their religion, so too is the sexual abuse of the church forced upon Mormons with the symbolism of the underwear. And you went on vacation for conference, and so you didn't listen to Oakes's talk where he confessed that this is the way it is. You have to take away agency to have civilized society. What? No, you don't. It's just, oh my hell. This guy was a prosecutor and a Supreme Court Justice of Utah. And there he is saying, yeah, you've got to take away agency of people. What is agency? Granting life, liberty, property, you know, from the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. And he's saying, no, you need to take away people's life, liberty, and property sometimes in order to have civilized society. What the hell are you doing? Why are Mormons missing this? So yeah, after 9/11, the next day, I'm wanting to retire. If something happens, I'm most likely not going to be able to do videos anyway. If something doesn't happen, there's no point in doing videos. YouTube's attacking me. I am not able to do videos. They're trying all kinds of ways to silence my voice. Like the news said, Merrick Garland got up and said, YouTube is working with Russia to overthrow the election. They're terrorists. When you give aid and comfort to the enemy, you're the enemy. YouTube is the enemy. And they're attacking me. You witnessed it. So, yeah, I would love it if nothing happened and they failed yet again. We know this election will be it. It's purposely designed for the bloodbath, whether Trump wins or loses, and he's purposely trying to lose. Did you notice this? Trump is purposely trying to lose on purpose to claim that it was rigged. He's already working on getting it rigged, but he's also starting off the narrative already that the election's already going to be rigged. It's not going to be fair. and MAGA is going to follow this, and they go, yeah, oh my God, America is being cooed by Biden and the deep state downs. And it's going to incite them to violence, and we're all doomed. I see this coming. I warn you. You don't believe. And the church is a part of it. The church is controlling it. The church is funding it. And you don't believe. You're running away. And YouTube won't let you see my videos because YouTube's a part of it. YouTube's getting funded for it. Money is involved. The coup is on. So yeah, if nothing happens, then yeah, I've already pre-ordered Reacher Season 2, Young Sheldon Season 7, Bad Boys Ride or Die, and Despicable Me and Inside Out showed up late. They're also coming. But whether, if something happens, I'm not going to get them. But if nothing's going to happen, I'm going to live my life. So, I'm not doing videos because I'm mean and evil and trying to hurt this church. Church is too powerful for me to do anything. I mean, just look at what YouTube's done to me. I am no threat at all to the church. And yet, for some reason, just like Joseph Smith, I've got the biggest people in the world trying to hurt me. Dear God, after all I've done for you, Putin, trying to save you from this church that's stabbing you in the back. He thinks he's being clever because he has a spy in the church who's only made it up to the 70s. They're purposely keeping him out of the loop, Putin. But notice what they did to Saudi Arabia. Ooh, they really stabbed you in the back, Putin. They put a Saudi Arabian apostle in. So let's get rid of some of those papers, shall we? So yeah, maybe I'll do the day after 9/11 if nothing happens other than what already is going to happen. Let LDS Church evil prevail. That's already the title set for it. And if you don't know, it's because you went on vacation for those conferences and didn't listen to the living prophet of Jesus. And so, yeah, you have Mormons who don't study their scriptures. They claim they do, they don't. They went to church, they listened to somebody else read from the manual. That's it. They don't go to conference, they don't listen, they're on vacation. And so they don't even bother to study their scriptures. They don't know Mormonism. Only what the church tells them to believe from the manuals that are regurgitated in Sunday school. That's it, that's all. That's as far as they go. And seminary and institute when they went as kids, trying to remember, and as time goes by, you start to forget more and more stuff. So you remember more right after it happened. But as more and more time goes by, you lose more and more of it if you don't write it down or if you don't tell it to somebody. And so this is what Mormons face as they get older and older. They begin to lose what they once knew. And then it turns into a myth. Well, I heard back when I was in seminary that Joseph Smith did such and such. No, you didn't. You misquoted it and took it out of context and changed it and morphed it and lied. See, me, I have associative memory. I know very well that if I want the correct information, I need to refer to the reference books or do a quick search online or in the scripture program I have, or if I have the file, I'll refer to it. But if I'm just talking to you in social conversation like these YouTube videos are, no, I'm not going to be quoting anything correctly. I don't memorize. So, if you do by chance study your scriptures, as there have been those who claim they have, I'd call BS, but you need to understand that the church has lied to you and said, replace everything of the Jews with Jesus and Christianity. Literal history, i.e., for example. And so the Book of Mormon. Church tells you it's another testament of Jesus Christ. And so when you go through there and you hear and see the word Christ or Messiah or Jesus specifically, you go, yeah, our Christian Christ, he's so true. And you start crying at the pulpit of church and during your testimony meeting. And you're lying. You didn't read your scriptures, or you don't understand what it is you read. You're illiterate. And I've had to go over this a billion times, and I shouldn't have to. We're at 11 minutes. Am I going to be cyber attacked again? Am I going to remember to put in the Mountain Dew drunken man technical difficulties? So let me briefly go over it again with you. 116 pages are stolen. Joseph Smith is condemned on timeout for a whole year while the book continues to go forth. And so the Book of Mormon shall go forth, for inasmuch as the knowledge of a Christ, Savior Christ, same thing, has come unto the world through the testimony of the Jews. Jewish religion is not Christian religion. How dare you say they are? The Jewish religion has two main Christs of prophecy. Every king of Judah and Israel were Christ's, because they were anointed. Thus Christ, Messiah, anointed, king. And others who tried to save Judah, the Jews, during particular war times, even though they failed, they were considered a Christ, because they tried to save the Jews. But Christianity comes in and says those are false Christs. See, they failed. And they don't realize that if you're going to turn the gospel stories into literal history, guess what? Jesus failed. Jesus is a false Christ, because Constantine sabotaged him. But you don't understand your scriptures. You're illiterate. You trust Constantine, but you have no clue what it means by homoousion. You read consubstantial in Wikipedia, but you have no clue what it means and how to understand it in the context. Not real. And so, here, Joseph Smith, whether you believe this is literal history from God telling him, or that you understand that it's Joseph Smith Sr. who's upset, because he was the master mason in Canandaigua Lodge, New York, on 9/11/1826, and had the responsibility to make sure the book got finished. Doesn't matter. Joseph Smith is being told that the Bible is Jewish, not Christian. And so the Messiah ben Joseph, Messiah ben David Moses. Joseph prepares the way for the coming of the latter-day Messiah ben David Moses. That's what he's being told about. Savior. Messiah ben David Moses. And yeah, it's me. Did you run the test, or did you compare me to Jesus? You're not real because Jesus is not real, and you're real, so you're not real. And then he's told that the Book of Mormon will teach about the Christ of the Jews, not Christians. So yes, the name Jesus is in there just like it is in the Jewish scriptures too. You have Jesus, who's a military person who goes and slaughters people. And you don't see that that's a prophecy in Revelation of the latter days from Revelation 19, which is a different story of that same event. Seriously? The book of Joshua? That's the book of Jesus. Constantine chose the Gospels Jesus, not the book of Joshua Jesus. You need to know your scriptures. Otherwise, you are prey to false prophets who lie to you, who steal your money and get you to commit crimes for them. And so, as a result, Mormons are incapable of doing anything good, as you're attacking me for my religion. You don't even think about that, because it's not your religion, therefore it's wrong, and so you're justified in attacking me. And bleep the Constitution with the First Amendment, because that's what the church is doing. Religious freedom? Really? You already have it in the First Amendment. Why are you wanting more? Oh, to control the agency of others. Got it. So I'm going to keep that simply because of the 9/11 title. Let LDS Church evil prevail. Something disturbing I caught on to with the press. Ever since October 7th, the press has turned on Israel. They do not seem to know or they're purposely being stupid. The press are supposed to be investigative journalists. They're not supposed to just report without any knowledge on the subject matter that they're reporting on. And they're especially not allowed to put their emotional responses in their reporting. Nonetheless, everybody's failing to do their job, as disinformation has gone rampant. But they're saying that the Israelis are poorly treating the Islamic terrorists in their custody. And obviously they don't say Islamic terrorists. This is the disconnect of the news to purposely disinform the public to turn on Israel. This is anti-Semitism blatantly in the news. It was ABC News and the Young Turks were specifically talking about this. Others have talked about it since October 7th. Only Fox News are the ones who know and understand this correctly, and it's scary. Because otherwise, all their articles are all about name-calling and bashing of the deep state Dems. But yeah, they are correct when Islam are terrorists. But they don't know the origin. You flip a coin, you're 50-50 chance of getting it right. And since the Democrats support Islam, Fox therefore has to oppose Islam. Now, if the Dems were supporting Israel, then you'd see Fox trying to figure out ways to criticize them for that. But Trump has Jared, and Jared has Netanyahu, and so therefore, such is the case. But you got to understand the reasoning for this. They're not the good guys in providing you with correct information about the historical origins of the Jews or Islam, let alone Christianity, as they're all for enforcing the Christian Bible in the public school systems. But what the mainstream news is not covering, and I'm not seeing it by Fox either. These are other national or other nations' world news stuff that I'm learning about this from, is that those hostages that have been freed without being murdered are reporting the abuses that they were subjected to while they were being held hostage. And listening to the poor treatment of Islam's prisoners who were terrorizing them, yeah, I'm just going, yeah, get out of here. Why are you covering this? Why are you giving them 15 minutes of fame for their terrorism? Dear God. I mean, the hostages are being beaten, paraded around in front of the civilians who are cheering, stoning them, spitting on them. As the women are raped, they're being tortured, they're being recorded of the abuse being done to them. And they're instead complaining about how they're not wearing clothes in Israeli jail. Seriously? First of all, you can hide things in your clothes. You have to be stripped to make sure you're not hiding weapons. You get people who just don't care about truth, and they purposely just want to spread the misinformation to cause hate and violence. So yeah, that's the title of this video. Daniel Jackson. It was at the end of season 8, or is it the beginning of season 9? It's I'd have to go into a whole explanation of it. It's a new character they're introducing. They showed her before when she kidnapped the Pegasus. And then again, I'd have to explain it. But she came back and she's talking about a treasure of Nut, Egyptian deity, you know, a Goa'uld deity. And she says, "Do you know of Nut?" And Daniel is joking around, pea or cashew. And then he says, "No, I don't know who Nut is." What? The whole start of the show that led into the TV series was all about Daniel Jackson being an Egyptologist. And he doesn't know who Nut is. Oh my God. Who wrote this script? No wonder you went to Thor. Don't want to drink it, I'm laughing. Dear God. So yeah, then I have blaming Joseph Smith to legitimize what the Danites and Brigham were doing. Do you not understand that? This church says and confesses, oh yeah, Joseph Smith did all this. Yep, gift and power of God. He was the living prophet of Jesus. Yeah, it's all, you know, like I said, if you're Mormon, everything he does is good, or what the church says he does is good. Versus other people, if they did the same thing Joseph is accused of doing, they're the bad guys, they need to be locked up, blah, blah, blah. Nope, Joseph did it. He's speaking for Jesus, therefore, nope, innocent. And we are going to practice it too. We just got to destroy the United States of America, and then we can restore everything back to the way it was. Make Mormon Church great again. Make Mormons great again. Mama? Eminem Ga. Mum-Ga? God. So, yeah, it's just, nobody thinks. Just keep on going with that theory. That's how you're supposed to do it. You take the word, you grow it into fruit, and then you find out, oh my hell, why did you even think about this? This is stupid. Or, wow, that was a brilliant idea. Real simple. And seriously, people. I had one, I guess I didn't write it down. But it was an analogy to demonstrate. Oh well, I didn't write it down, so I don't memorize, and so. But my associative memory reminded me of when I got the idea. I was heading for the refrigerator. I remember that much. And so yeah, this is going to be a long video. We'll try to keep it to an hour-ish. But yeah, I already told you. I'm under attack. I'm trying to save lives. YouTube won't let me. Church want me dead and silenced because something's coming. This is why. In the near future, something's coming. But after 9/11, if I'm still able to do videos, I'm not. I want to retire. Nobody believes. What's the point? Church won. So therefore the church is true, right? Might makes right. Screw science and truth. Yeah, this was disturbing. I meant to watch the video clip to understand more about what they're claiming AI did. But NBC 6 months ago had a news article on YouTube about an ancient 2,000-year-old document that was deciphered. Now, granted, I'm the expert in the field, so I know the problems with the title. But at least NBC should have consulted an expert so that they wouldn't have made this stupid error. Because when news makes these kinds of errors, nobody trusts them anymore. You don't even know the subject you're talking about. So if you don't understand, 2,000 years ago was called the classical period. Then, therefore, any archaeological discoveries are classical. They're not ancient. Not until you get to the Persians on back can you now claim that an archaeological discovery is ancient. Real simple. Science of archaeology already has all of the terminology all set up. All the NBC had to do was do a quick Google search. Hopefully AI would tell the truth. Not likely. But at least consult an expert from the person who presented it to you in the first place to hook you up with the story. And no, apparently they didn't. And so decipher? Really? It is an unknown language. That's what they're saying when you say decipher. Because the real definitions... Okay, we're not getting to you, are we? Decipher is made up of the word cipher. And a cipher is a secret or disguised way of writing a code. Thus, when a language is dead, nobody knows how to translate it, and thus it needs to be deciphered. That's what I mean when I say I deciphered Paleo-Hebrew and Egyptian and all of the ancient languages, because what we currently have been told is incorrect and incomplete. Wrong. And so to decipher is to open the sealing of the coded message. Exactly what I did with the Book of Mormon. I open the sealed portion of the Book of Mormon for you. Again, proving who I am. And so decipherment is not translation. It is converting a written text in code into normal language. So translation is different in that you are just simply turning one language into another. If it's transliteration, it's the phonetics transferred directly over. So Emmanuel, Amen, El. God, El, Amen, Egyptian word. Transliterated into Paleo-Hebrew in Isaiah for the God Amen of the Egyptians. And so when you see Matthew falsely claim that it means God with us, you begin to understand the damage that Constantine was doing to the Jewish scriptures to take you away from the true God of the Jews. Okay? And so, yeah, I'm not confident that AI is intelligent enough to decipher. They'll make up their own thing. Like I said, I had to re-decipher Egyptian because Jean Champollion, all he did was decipher the Rosetta Stone, learning of the Greeks, language of the Egyptians. And so that's what I see AI doing instead, is making up their own translation. And if we were to get an actual scientist who knows decipherment and translation, they should be able to expose this for us so that NBC wouldn't be doing a Geraldo's Al Capone's Vault TV series show. All right, well, this whole week we came up empty. But we had a wonderful journey talking about the history and seeing the past. Please keep my job. I don't really want to lose it. Thank you, Fox, for maintaining my job all these decades later. So, tragic Utah news. A mom and 3 kids were murdered in their car, apparently in their driveway. And the cops are not coming out and saying it was a murder-suicide yet. Apparently they are claiming they're investigating by interviewing others to try to find out who's going to confess, so that they don't have to actually investigate. You know, forensic investigation. Look at the crime scene, like I do every year for Joseph Smith's Carthage jail assassination. So, Zelenko on Stargate Atlantis had an interesting quote that we'll get out so I can throw this paper away. In war, there are casualties. And so as much as you'd like people not to die during warfare, you know, like people don't want the Gazan children to suffer and die. In war, there are casualties. Blame the mothers who abandon their babies to be a martyr for Allah and leave them to be tortured. You do know it's the parents' fault. The husbands are side by side fighting with Hamas. The mothers are side by side fighting with Hamas. Like I told you, the real story of what's being done to the hostages, the civilians all know about it and did nothing to stop it, and helped with the torture and abuse of those hostages. This is what the news is not reporting. And it's very upsetting that they're not reporting it correctly. And so these parents who are dying for Allah in their holy war against Israel are purposely neglecting and abandoning their kids, leaving them all by themselves, without food, without water, without medical care, getting polio now, all because their parents think it's more important to serve Allah than take care of their children, leaving their children to be used as sympathies to turn the world against Israel. They did not leave. They knew that Hamas had done this. They knew that Hamas is responsible. They knew that Hamas had hostages. They knew that Israel has had enough and wants it stopped. And yet they don't leave, even if just temporarily, to have Israel eliminate Hamas for good. And they just, nope. They lied. They lied to the world about who they are. Because you're stupid and don't know the origins of Islam. That Muhammad started his organization as a militant terrorist group, claiming Allah is telling him what to do, and as a sexual abuser of women. And the women still to this day wear the symbol of their sexual abuse. And here they are in America, still wearing their sexual symbol of abuse, when they're in the land of the free. They are free from their religious abusers, and they still wear the clothing. And then people get upset with Lee simply saying, hey, I'm in Taylorsville. Really? Okay, great. But what everybody is doing is jumping to the side of Islam to protect them. How dare you, Lee? And are clueless what the hijab means. That the little girls are also wearing, not the boys. They are playing off of the infidels' ignorance. That's what a sleeper cell does. So, yeah, I already covered that. Russian election disinformation through YouTube's influence. But influencers also are spreading it. But YouTube is promoting those influencers, and thus promoting Russian disinformation. And the church is paying for all of it. Do that one last, maybe. So yeah, well, yeah, it's all this time. This is a summation. You're supposed to pay attention to the news. That's why I do church news videos every night, and that will stop after 9/11. You know, unless another October 7th happens, or the big event happens, a 9/11 event happens, and I'm still able to report and do video, yeah, I'll be pissed, but I'll do them. It's the next one, isn't it? But I'm wanting to retire. I'm wanting to do my own thing. Because if all is vain, all is lost, I'm just going to do my own thing until I die. Which is going to be in the coming days too, I guess. But you need to pay attention to the church news. The local news, national news, and the world news. Because the church, with their threat to take back their kingdom, as they suppose, is purposely involved in all of the world's news. National, local, church. Everything they do has to do with the coup of America and the coup of the world governments. The way to perfection. Jesus is going to come and take the keys of the government from President Joe Biden, who is Lucifer. And then he'll give it to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And you seriously believe that's real? Yep, you do. You see the church as infallible. And anything and everything they do is not a crime, it's not a terrorist act, it's not harmful or abusive. But when it's somebody else, well, yeah, obviously. We believe in obeying, honoring, and sustaining the law once we change it to Jesus' way. And so, yeah, all of this is confirmed. The way to perfection, Thomas B. Marsh's affidavit that caused the extermination order, Albert Pike in his letter to Giuseppe Mazzini, the videos I did again over the weekend, Heber C. Kimball, attest, John Taylor's dream, which was actually Wilford Woodruff's, claiming it was John Taylor's. Brigham Young and the real history of the church, John D. Lee on 9/11, 1857. All of these need to be seen in the context of cooing America, getting the kingdom, overthrowing governments. And yet Mormons want to be stupid, just like Islam. Our underwear is not the symbol of our sexual abuse by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It's the blessing of Jesus, where we yoke ourselves to Jesus. You mean yoke yourself to Jesus' yoke? No, to Jesus. Our living prophet of Jesus said so. But we went on vacation, didn't watch the conference, and that's what others are saying. Like that apostate, anti-Mormon, anti-Christ, Korahor Travis. Okay, are we there? We're there. Other than, let's throw this comedic stuff in first. On an old video of mine, LDS Church President reveals Adam Ondiaman priesthood meeting has already happened. We got Angry Nelson, some text. I'm not going to blow it up to see what it says. Something about me and being the sacred secret being revealed. And then Adam Ondiaman is in the right upper corner of the sign that the church has there. And then on the left, the way to perfection. You kind of need to know what I'm talking about when you see the picture symbols later on. And so, Mona Beale, I guess she's a single cat lady, because there's a picture of a cat staring at us. Are you going to murder me, kitty? Are you waiting to pounce? Are you saying, this human is so stupid? Get me another can of tuna fish, slave. Didn't a new Garfield movie come out recently? Anyway, she says, I hope it hasn't happened because I haven't been to any Adam Ondiaman meeting. And if it's happened, it means I wasn't righteous enough to go to it. I allowed that video, or that comment, to go through. She's not being mean. So, look at the big picture of the context that I just laid out for you. Here's my reply. Again, you need to know about local news, church news, national news, world news. Those of you who have heard some of the news may recognize something that I'm going to come up with in this comment. 1. I'm guessing with the name Mona, in quotes, then you're female, which means you're not allowed to go. It's priesthood meeting. As you are commanded to be barefoot, pregnant, and in the kitchen. We're not done yet. If you feel you're some other sex identity, Nelson ordered your excommunication the other week in the church news. If you feel, or plus, Project 2025 will convert you back to your birth identity. Two, it's only for leadership, as Jesus is given the keys of government from all world leaders. Biden will hand over America to Mormon Jesus. Three, Joseph Fielding Smith Sr. makes it very clear that no apostates like me are allowed to disclose the super sacred secret transfer of authority. You are not allowed to know of it. You'll just wake up one morning to learn that the kingdom for the millennium has occurred, and your temple recommend is now required for you to buy and sell. And that you'd have to watch a recent video of mine too, with the temple slip on the thumbnail picture of it. By the way, BTY or W, I hope you're not a single cat lady. Because that is not allowed in the church, let alone for MAGA. Hashtag let LDS Jesus prevail. So let's close. The kid who's suing a teen center, treatment center. It's a psychological asylum. It is not treating anybody, and that's what he's suing about. And so, as a result, KSL has taken upon themselves to do investigative journalism. Oh, guys, you are not digging deep enough into the real problem that's going on, because they are not catching on that if these teen centers, and they say there's over 100 of them here in Utah, that if these teen centers are as corrupt as you say they are, and they are, do you not think that those teens who are not being treated, i.e. not healed, to be released back into society, where do they go when they're no longer a teenager? To the over 100 adult treatment centers in the state of Utah alone. It is a far bigger problem than KSL will allow you to know about. But the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is the one true treatment center, family services. So they can't go there. And so yes, they are abused. Their therapists are not reporting the abuse, even though their therapist is the abuser. And it is imprisonment, which means human slave trafficking. Human slavery, if not trafficking. Because those kids, and then they grow up to be adults, are cash cows for the companies, the treatment centers. They're purposely not being healed. There is no cure. They made up the diagnoses. Remember? I'm finally going to be able to put this away for good in that box right there. Since I'm no longer going to do the video on Rebecca, the rape of Pharaoh. With a long list, not as long as the church's crimes of Section 119, but long. Where is it? What the hell? That's the tithing crimes. Are you kidding me? You skipped it? Oh, that's 1838. Here it is. Dear God. All of these psychological crimes of name-calling, abusive name-calling. So then when they call you special, they're also meaning impaired, disabled, diseased, ill, retarded, mental health challenged, psychotic, psychopathic, mental, emotional, behaviorally challenged, unstable, hysterical, mental malfunction, chemical imbalanced, extremist, radical, deranged, stressed, moron, depressed, special, criminal, LGBTQ, IAPO+, religious fundamentalist, religious fanatic, religious extremist, illiterate, crazy, mad, psycho, schizo, schizophrenic, sensitive, mental problems, cuckoo, needing professional help, unhinged, mental inability, nuts, nutty, fruity, batty, loony, bipolar, behavioral problems, attitude problems, snowflake, flake, demented, stupid, in denial of this list, needing help, cray-cray, addicted, psychic, rabid, uncivilized, not woke, politically incorrect, attitude problem, loopy, disturbed, blonde, Karen, kook, and kooky. There might have been some new stuff there that you may not have heard of before. All of that means the same thing to them. And technically religion in and of itself, which, said there. But with Utah being the dominant religion, the church has got all of the psychologists to defend the church and say that only extremists, radicals, or fundamentalists are the ones who are the real crazy people. If you're just a regular Mormon and you don't go against the church, you're just fine. But psychologists know better. You're not. You're among the list. Those are all name-calling. In other words, your diagnosis. But typically, they'll have some other professional-sounding name for it. Schizophrenia is the one that's used for both. Bipolar, however, I guess it could be, because, yeah, I guess bullies take that diagnosis and turn it into a name calling. And so, yes, it is a name calling in and of itself. So I'd have to find a list of every single psychological diagnoses, and you'd just turn those into name calling abuse also, because the whole thing is a fraud. All of their diagnoses are based on outward observations, which they themselves make up. Stanley Smith Stevens was the one who created this whole scam. Mormon from Utah, who did his work in Colorado. The dichotomous and non-dichotomous categorization of human behavior. You can't do that. That's a logical fallacy. Thus, you can't really say logic and fallacy in the same sentence because they contradict each other. They are falsehoods, lies, unsound arguments. And that's the whole thing. And you can't mix truth with fallacy, because once you do that, you've falsified your truth. And so that's psychology for you. And everybody gets upset with me because everybody is brainwashed into John Delen's cult of ex-Mormons. You were, not me. I'm trying to save your lives. He's cashing in on you leaving the church and having a faith crisis. And so, yes, what's going on in Utah is blowing up all of psychology. They started by giving asylum to the psychologists and medical doctors who did their treatments on Jews in Nazi Germany, which now for the first time have elected a fascist group in Germany since World War II. Got to pay attention to what's going on in the world. And so, yeah, this is purposely done to thank their American liberators by turning America into Nazi Germany. Here we are. Bye-bye. I warned you. You didn't listen. YouTube is purposely silencing me as they are part of the terroristic threat. We're all going to die. And I'm just going to go and retire. And so, yeah, this kid, yeah, he knows he's not being treated. He knows that he's being force drugged. Psychologists purposely are there they created Big Pharma. Big Pharma came out of psychologists, and psychologists are the drug pushers for the big pharmaceutical companies. And we're finding out lately, even in the state of Utah, that medical doctors, Bill Maher's show last Friday with the new rules with Matthew Perry and his death, and the doctors being locked up for it, for having murdered him. Yeah, this is what you're seeing now, is medical doctors violating their Hippocratic oath. Whereas psychologists, they don't have a Hippocratic oath, but they are treated with doctor-patient confidentiality in the legal system. And so they don't tell anybody what's going on to your kids that you couldn't handle because you didn't raise them right, and so you saw the easy way out to send them off to one of these teen centers before they turn 18, and you can't do anything about them. Then it's too late. And you're expecting that they're getting the help that they need rather than accepting responsibility for being a bad parent. And so, yeah, these kids are being tortured. Their lives are over. They're being drugged, they're being abused, physically, sexually, emotionally, mentally, religiously abused in these systems, all to be cash cows for these companies that are given legal authority by our government. And KSL does not want to reveal the full story of this. They will never, because it implicates the church at the same time. Because this is what the church is doing. The church has been doing it. The church has been under scandal all these decades. When they had their adoption agency, the Mormon girls who'd get raped would go to LDS Family Services. They'd tell them, you got to have the baby, it's murder otherwise. Yeah, I know, it's the rape baby. We'll put it in for adoption, and then we'll give it to good Mormon parents who will raise the child right. Because they're rich. Whereas your life is now over as a woman because you're used like chewing gum for your being raped. And the boy, well, he's you know, he's got to go on a mission, and then he's got a football career ahead of him, and then he's a relative of one of the apostles, and so he's going to be an apostle one day himself. So you're the bad person, woman, little girl. And so yeah, this is the abuse that goes on in the state of Utah. All psychological abuse. Working side by side with Nazi psychologists since the 50s. Stanley Smith Stevens. Nazi, Nazi, Nazi. I just made that up. That was funny. So we got everything else? Okay, we're done. So an hour and a half, huh? God. I just so want to retire. Because I'm not going to get a woman to like me. That's not happening, is it? And I can go on for hours on this subject. And simply put, anciently, remember anciently? I'm talking anciently, not 50 years ago. It was agricultural. Survival was essential. You had to grow food. If you didn't grow food, you died. You had to have shelter, or you died. You had to have clothing, or you're poor and you'll die. Communication, energy and fuel, etc., etc., etc. And sex. If you don't have sex, the human race dies. And so it's real simple. You know, modern scholars try to claim that women back then selected their mate. No, they didn't. They were women. The man wanted you, he got you. That was how it was done. Women had no say in that. Come on. They're trying to claim that women sought out the strongest man because he could provide better. And then over time, when we changed into the industrial society and then whatever society, nuclear family, etc., over time, that women's sexual desires changed. No, they didn't. They're using psychology on you to tell you how to believe, how to feel, how to think, and how to act. Because if you knew that that's what they were doing to you, you wouldn't self-fulfill their self-fulfilling prophecy on you. And so you'd throw away all those self-help books who are trying to tell you how to live your life rather than you learning how to learn. But anyway, yeah, it's real simple. When you have a scarcity of humans, there's more of a survival instinct to be with somebody. Versus now, when there's just greener and greener and greener and greener and greener hills, you don't make your choice. And people literally wait until their idea of perfection comes along. I've heard that from the single women and the older singles, as that was their reasoning for still not being married. they're attractive enough. I don't know why they couldn't have gotten married sooner. They say that they had lots of proposals for marriage right before they went on a mission, and yet they rejected those men to go on a mission. Back then it was 21. And so it wasn't a matter of them being ugly and not putting on costumes of makeup and such, and all the abusive commercial ads that YouTube likewise promotes to abuse women. But yeah, this is the sad reality, is it's worse for me. Not only do women want to see all men before they make a decision, which there's a lot of men to see in these days and times, but they also are looking for someone who is similar, even though their sex drive wants them to be attracted to the bad boy or the guy who's not similar. But that's a sexual thing that throws everything out the window. But if women understood that men likewise are that way, men have their mood swings every 7 seconds, women just once a month. And if women understood this, they would not be so abused, because they'd turn it back on men. Well, your mood swings are every 7 seconds. I'm once a month. Bleep you. Bleep on the couch. You and your hand. And then women can abuse men. So hopefully no women are listening now. But yeah, that's why. There's just everything is against me. I'm older. I am destroyed by the church, and so I'm not Mormon, and I'm not accepted by ex-foes, and I'm not accepted by never-mo's. As I'm neither progressive Democrat or MAGA. It's just, yeah, nobody is like me, so there's nobody compatible, and I'm not desirable as the bad boy. So yeah, my life is over. There is no hope. And so only the utter destruction and surviving it is my only hope. And that's sad that I have to rely on utter destruction of mankind in order to finally have a woman forced to be with me. And I know exactly what she's going to say. Not if you're the last man on earth. As she then walks to search for another last man on earth. It's just so sad. Because ever since Beth in kindergarten, I've been women's biggest advocate. And women don't see it, because I'm a man, I'm the enemy. And I'm allergic to cats. They kill me. You know, it's not like the smoker woman on the bus this morning. Dear God, the eyes started burning, the eyelids started burning, and then the back of the neck on the shoulders started to itch. That's the allergies to secondhand smoke that I have. And I have other allergies too, like pollution and stuff like that, that causes the phlegm buildup that stops me from breathing. But that's the cat thing, is that the swelling down here is added with the burning of the eyelids and the itching on the back of the neck and the shoulders. So yeah, they kill me. cute and adorable as they are, because my parents have always had stray cats to keep mice and rats away from the house, as they would eventually go on to have only suburban homes, new constructed suburban homes for us. And in Riverton, one of the stray cats had babies, so the little kittens, so adorable that when I brought home, I had chicken nuggets, and they were just so cute and adorable. I couldn't resist, and I gave them my chicken nuggets, and I watched them as these little tiny kittens were clawing at them like they were live animals. They were meow, meow, meow. So cute. Good for you. You're learning how to kill. So, anyway, such is life.